A very good evening to you, Tony. Thanks for joining us for the Friday edition of the show. Promises to be exciting. It's the last one for the week, and we'll make it worth your while. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Let me give you a quick rundown of what to expect on the show tonight. We're going to touch a lot of places on the show tonight. We're going to have a slice of basketball, a woman that made history with the Kenya men's basketball team. Hopefully, we get the chance to have a conversation with her tonight. We're also going to be talking about Tiger Woods. We're going to be talking about Nigeria Professional Football League, the English Premier League. A lot will go down this weekend. We'll talk about it. Big games in the English Premier League. We'll also take a look at the rebranded Principals Cup. We'll take a look at it because it kicked off today after more than a decade of the competition being put on hold. There was a kickoff today. We'll talk about all of that for you on the show. So sit back, relax, and enjoy what's on offer. I've told you what's on the menu. So just sit back. There's a lot to do. So now let me bring you into all that we're going to do on the show tonight. In case you're joining us for the first time and you're wondering how you can be a part of the show, we got you covered. This is how you can be a part of the show. Send us a mail, sportstonight@channelstv.com. On Facebook, Channel 7 Sports, get across to us as well. Then on Twitter, that verified handle that we always talk about, you can get across to us, sending your tweet at channels_sports. Earlier, I told you about a lady who has made history, talking about Liz Mills, the name on everyone's lips, talking about basketball. She's the coach. She's the lady, and she's the coach of the Kenya men's basketball team. And after 28 years, she was able to help Kenya return to the FIFA Afrobasket Championship. And that's why we're having a conversation with her. And they did it in grand style. Defeated a team that's over 100 points ahead of them on the ranking. Talk about the much dreaded Angolan team. They did it in style. So we have that conversation. Greetings to you, Liz. Thanks for joining us today on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
All right. Everybody's singing your praises. They're talking about you, an amazing feat. And I can imagine how you feel. But as much as I can imagine how you feel, I'm not you. Take us through what you're feeling right now, how everything just unraveled and everybody talking about you.
Oh, look, I'm very excited and very proud of this team. As you said previously, we were the underdogs in this tournament and no one really expected us to qualify. So beating a powerhouse like Angola to qualify made it that much more sweet. The team, the country is very excited to finally be back at AfroBasket after 28 years, and hopefully we can continue to have some great results in August in Rwanda.
All right. Let me ask you, when you took this job, did you ever imagine that you will be the one after 28 years to lead the men's team back to the AfroBasket? Did it cross your mind, or that was that was what you wanted from the beginning?
That's what I wanted from the beginning, and I knew that's exactly what this team wanted as well. We're not one of those teams that just go to participate. We went to win all three games. Obviously, we only played about 20 minutes of great basketball against Senegal, but I knew that if we could build on that, we'd be able to really take on Angola. So we're proud of how we performed, and you can never count us out, and that's exactly how we feel heading into AfroBasket. Regardless of who we're competing against, we're always going to go out and try and get wins.
I know a lot of people will ask you this question, and I'm not an exemption. I'm going to ask you as well. I'm very sure you have a ready-made answer. You're in a unique environment, a lady handling a men's team. What's the experience like? What are the unique challenges that comes with being a woman then leading a men's team?
Look, I've been coaching in Africa for 10 years now, and so it kind of feels like for a lot of teams and players here, I'm old news. It's really everybody else who's only just realized what I've been doing all these years. My team's players have always embraced me, and I actually feel that Africa as a whole has embraced me, especially in more recent years where I've had the opportunity to work with a variety of teams. I think it's more a unique experience for people who have never seen me coach. There's always challenges as a coach, be that men or women's teams, but I actually don't feel like my gender actually plays a role for the players that I work with. As long as they know that I have the qualifications and experience to lead them, they don't care if I'm male or female.
All right. I mean, what you've achieved is, I mean, everyone around the globe is hearing it. We also hear that the Kenyan government has been celebrating this success, hailing the achievement of the team. How does this make you feel? Your name on the lips of everybody, Kenyans, as high as the people at the helm of affairs singing your praise. How does it make you feel?
To be honest, it's actually quite overwhelming. The media attention has kind of, I think, bit overboard. Because if you think about it, we're in 2021. And should we be celebrating a milestone like this? This should have been decades ago. We should by now have women in these kind of roles, and it should be normal. But it is, I'm glad we've made this breakthrough, and I'm glad the Kenyan public are really happy for this team. And obviously it wasn't just me, there was the players, the federation, our sponsors. It was a team effort all the way through. And I hope that we celebrate everybody that was involved.
All right, let's put the celebration aside for a while if you can. We'll get back to that. But I mean, you just, a lot of people would think, okay, you've done your best, fold your hands, but here you are talking about not being your team not being a pushover. You're going to Rwanda to compete. You want to punch above your weight. You've done that already by defeating Angola. But I mean, it looks like an uphill task.
Oh, look, obviously a lot more teams have that AfroBasket experience, which they can rely on. A lot of other teams will have NBA or EuroLeague players that will be available. But we're up for the challenge, or else we wouldn't be going. And playing against top teams like Tunisia, Senegal, Egypt, Cameroon, these kind of teams are what you live for if you're a competitor. You want to measure yourself against the best teams in Africa. You want to see what the gap is and how you can improve. And obviously, this is Kenya's first trip back to AfroBasket in 28 years. Let's not expect miracles, but we are going to be stepping in the right direction.
Well, you kind of touched a nerve in me somehow. You mentioned the top teams in Africa. You didn't say Nigeria. I guess maybe you just missed it out. So I want to ask if if you just missed that, or you don't see us as one of the top teams in Africa.
Oh, look, it's difficult with Nigeria because obviously you're a great basketball team, but in terms of developing local talent, this has been a huge gap for the country. And so when you play the Nigerian national team, are you playing a team that represents the basketball in Nigeria, or is it the basketball from America where a lot of these players are from? Obviously, those players are highly skilled. A lot of them are NBA caliber players, and it's going to be fantastic for Kenyan players to have experience against that elite level of player. But when I'm talking about Tunisia, Senegal, these teams have all developed their players in those countries, and they're a reflection of the basketball played in that country.
So bottom line, it wasn't a mistake. You deliberately didn't mention Nigeria. All right, I just brought that up for laughs. Anyway, all right, so let's move on. You right there in Kenya. What's right there in Kenya? What's most African countries, football is the #1 sport. You have few countries that are multi-sport nation. Kenya happens to be one of them because I know they're involved in other sports as well. But I mean, do you think there's any sort of apathy for basketball in Kenya, or you think they're beginning to embrace basketball the same way they're embracing football, maybe cricket, and some of the other things that Kenya is involved in?
Well, look, football and rugby sevens in particular is still very popular in Kenya, also volleyball and netball. So I think with the success of the team at Africa in Mali in 2019, that really started it was a spark that set people afire in terms of interest in basketball here. And I think with our most recent performance, we're seeing more and more people jump on board and get excited. So imagine what would happen if we actually had a very good performance at AfroBasket and then, starting with World Cup qualifiers later this year. I think we're starting to make ground, but obviously, it's not going to happen overnight, and we have to continue to be successful in order to start competing with those other sports.
Before we talk about World Cup qualifiers, let's talk about AfroBasket. Your team has lost the element of surprise. People know you now. People will pay attention to you now. So how are you going to handle that? It's not the classic David Goliath anymore. I mean, you've defeated Angola, so people are going to pay attention. So how do you handle that?
Well, I think we're still going to be underdogs. I know Angola want to see us again at AfroBasket. And no doubt, some of those top teams like Nigeria would like to, put us in our spot. So I think for us, it's about staying focused on what we can control. We can't think about what those teams are doing and how they're going to compete against us. We still have a lot of talent that we haven't used yet. And given the fact that I only had 2 weeks with this team before we went to Cameroon, hopefully we have a longer period of time to be together before AfroBasket. And we've still got a lot of areas that we can improve in. So we're looking forward to getting better and better leading into AfroBasket.
Which makes me want to ask you the exposure that your players have now. What do you think the exposure would do for them? And where do you hope it will take them? Are you hoping to see them leave the shores of Kenya, go to the NBA, EuroLeague? I mean, what do you hope that this exposure will bring? What will be the benefits of, being a big player now, returning to Africa's elite after 28 years?
Oh, look, I think any exposure for African basketball players, not just Kenyan players, is great. And that's what I love about AfroBasket and World Cup qualifiers. This is when more scouts will start paying attention to African players who sometimes get overlooked. My hope is that we'll see a lot of these Kenyan players participating in the Basketball Africa League. Hopefully that happens this year, and that's even more exposure for these guys, and they might end up getting contracts in Europe or North America. And it might inspire the younger Kenyan players to start, playing basketball at an earlier age. Often, African players start playing at 15 or 16, and hopefully we get Kenyan players starting a bit earlier, and then that feeds into the US college system and eventually the NBA. But that's over a period of 10 to 15 years. But in the near future, I hope that these guys are playing in the Basketball Africa League and continue to represent their countries at World Cup qualifiers, etc.
As a basketball coach, when young people come up to you and say, well, I want to play basketball, what's the incentive? What can I aspire to? What are the opportunities? What would you say to, because this will make you start answering those questions. The young ones will look at the guys in your current squad, they've done it. But, I mean, what can they get beyond now they're back at AfroBasket? What can the young ones aspire for?
Oh, look, I think there's so many benefits from playing a sport, whether it's basketball, football, whatever. There are life skills, teamwork, leadership, accountability, and it also helps in mental health as well as physical health. It's not only just about finances or exposure. You can take these skills into any aspects of your life. And so I always say that, especially to young kids wanting to play any sport, that it will benefit you in more ways than you will know, mentally, physically, holistically. There are no downsides to participating, whether you become a superstar or you just play it socially. I always recommend that kids these days participate.
Okay, I'm going to ask you something that's not really, in the sphere of what we've been talking about since. There's this thing that, some of us have had to grapple with, and it's good. I get the opportunity to ask somebody who's not from this continent this question. Do you think there's a gulf in class when it comes to talent between the United States, Europe on one side, and Africans in the game of basketball. Do you think, in terms of talent, that there's that gulf in class? You know, can can you pick a 7 year old
Yeah.
here and a 7 year old from the United States, and in terms of talent, there won't be much difference?
I actually don't think so. I think the gap is really closing. I think there's always been potential and talent in Africa. The difference being that they haven't, the players and coaches here don't have the same opportunities and infrastructure to help them develop like a player would in the US, Europe, or Australia. If they had the same infrastructure, coaching, administration of the game, that is in Europe, the US, or Australia, here in Africa, Africa would be dominating the world of sport.
That's very comforting for me, sitting on this chair and listening to you, a basketball coach, say that, and for me to hear it's very comforting, because you look at the players in the NBA and you look at the ones back home and you're wondering. So, as far as you're concerned, what could bridge the gap is the opportunities, the infrastructure, and all the facilities. If you have that, then you can have, LeBron James and all those kind of players come out from Africa.
Exactly. That's it. That's the missing link. And I think that's what's going to be great about the Basketball Africa League. They're really going to be bringing in strong rules and regulations and guidelines to assist in the development of administration of the sport across the continent, which I think is the biggest issue at the moment, as well as coach development. We have all this talent and potential as players, but we don't have the coaches to help them get to where they need to be. The Basketball Africa League is going to help the entire ecosystem of basketball across Africa, and so I can't wait for it to launch this year.
All right, before we let you go, before we let you go, you've answered all of the questions that we'd love to ask, and we know more about Kenya than we knew before. So, what's your target? What target are you setting for yourself with this team? Is it a long-term project or short-term? Or, I just want to know.
Look, I'm definitely going to be at AfroBasket in Rwanda. That's always been one of my goals since starting to coach in 2011 here in Africa. It was to lead a men's team at AfroBasket. And then for me, my focus then shifts to the World Cup. And obviously, I would love to keep working with Kenya as long as that relationship flourishes. I'm happy to work with this team, and hopefully we can continue to achieve history, and step by step we get better, and hopefully we have some more fairy tale stories for you.
All right, Liz Mills, I want to thank you for your time on the show today. Best wishes for your team. Hopefully we get to do this some other time.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
All right. So we've been having a chat with the female coach of the men's basketball team of Kenya. And she's telling us we shouldn't be surprised. She's been doing this for a long time, but it got global attention when she helped Kenya to qualify for the AfroBasket after 28 years, and on the back of some very important victories. All right, so that's it for this segment. We need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we'll give you updates about Tiger Woods. We'll talk about the Nigerian Professional Football League and a lot of sports still on offer for you. But we need to do that when we return from this break.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've been waiting for. The players of Ikobi College Lagos of African to their side. Honorable Minister. When we all come, this business on the tracks. We'd like you to please clear the tracks at this moment. The Honorable Minister of Sports about to play the kickoff. This ceremony kickoff of the United African Schools Club right here. A historic moment. A moment to remember. It's a moment of revival. And there goes, ladies and gentlemen, official kickoff taken by the Honorable Minister. May we invite the all blessings of the fish to please go back to your seats right away. Thank you, thank you. Can we please go back to our seats?
All right, so welcome back. It's time to talk about the rebranded National Principals Cup. It's going to get our attentions. The pictures you saw from the today, what happened today at the Agege Stadium, the Principals Cup. Of course, you had Ibobi College and the Government College from Kaduna playing a 1-1 draw, and that signals the kickoff of the rebranded National Principals Cup. There's a lot to talk about on the Principals Cup. A lot of you also reacting to some of things Coach Liz Mills has said. I promise I'm going to read your tweet. But first, let me bring my partners let me bring them on the show tonight. Alfred Okoligbe is with us. Austin Okonakman as well is with us. Guys, it's good to have you. Let me start with Austin. Greetings to you, Austin. Thanks for joining us on the show tonight. It's good to have you with us.
The show, so it's probably great to you, and of course, you are all over the world.
All right. Alfred Okoligwe is also with us. Alfred, greetings to you. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Excited to be here, Yemi. I'm really delighted to have you to be on the show. This is an exciting evening, and really enjoyed your discussion with the head coach of the Kenyan basketball team, and of course all of the exploits that they are doing. Really exciting one.
All right, we'll talk about, because a lot of people are reacting on Twitter to some of the things she said, but I want to talk about the rebranded Principals Cup. I already told you the result. I mean, it's good that it's back. A lot of fond memories, but it took more than a decade for us to have the rebranded Principals Cup back. It's national now, and of course, it involves some other events. Let me start with Alfred. How happy are you? I don't know if you were at the Agege Stadium today, but how happy are you that even with the unique challenges we have right about now with COVID-19, we're still able to pull this off?
Well, I think it's a good one that the Principals Cup is back. For those of us who went to school in Lagos, this competition was one competition we followed religiously while I was in secondary school in Lagos. All of the politics and the things that went on behind the scenes much later started all over. But it's good that this project is being championed by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports. But you ask, now it is national. I hope the same attention is placed from the top to the bottom, because what will happen is now that it's been given that national platform, people will want to project the best from their state, do things perhaps maybe. I hope they have enough checks to take care of coaches, the schools themselves, and all to really ensure that students, the real students who are players, are the ones that participate in this competition. Because at the end of the day, now that it is given a national level, everybody will want the best from the state. The state sports council will have interest the governor himself will say, okay, I want my school to, and people will start taking laws. I hope they have enough checks in the system to take care of all those kind of untoward arrangements.
Yeah, basically, so that the purpose is not defeated. All right, let me get Austin's thoughts as well into all of this. How excited are you? I am excited, especially because this current situation. I mean, the sports minister and everybody could be forgiven if they fold their hands and say, COVID-19, we can't do anything.
That's what it is. I always say it that COVID-19 has given us a reflection window. The Principal's Cup is a brand for grassroots football development in Nigeria, and it was shocking that we folded our arms and I watched it go down the way it went. It's good to see that it's back now. And let me say this again, because a lot of people, particularly administrators of football in Nigeria, sports in particular, think that grassroots football or grassroots development is when you gather young persons, do a competition, and then you have developed it. No. I'm glad that this is national. I saw the Minister of Youth and Sports Development there. I saw the Minister of Education at that kickoff. I saw the Deputy Governor of Edo State there. I saw Daniel Amokachi, people that can actually put together a working document for discovery, nurturing, and sustaining of young talent. Don't just organize competitions and then they go back to standards. Alfred mentioned one of the problems, age cheat. Can it fight age cheat? How do you bring these players together to play? What measures can you put in place to monitor? Education minister was there. What can we do to put sports into the curriculum? Make it a benchmark for students who are in school that for you to be active in sports, you must also do well in school. Yeah. We must start doing things and looking at things from a holistic view that can give us the results that we can look back tomorrow and say, yes, we didn't just do it because we wanted to do it. We did it with purpose and we achieved results. It's good to see the Principal's Cup back. I'm glad this one is not just about football. They're expanding it to cover other sports. We also like to see that same energy because it has to be sports development.
All right, I agree with you. And I do hope that the critical stakeholders are listening to what you have said, to what Alfred has said as well, so that at the end of it, we should be in this for the long run. We might not see the results immediately, but gradually we begin to see it. All right, guys, stand by. Let's listen to the Sports Minister, Sunday Dare, talk, at the official kickoff of the rebranded National Principal's Cup.
When I read my speech, I reeled out about 15 to 17 names. All of these ones are football heroes in their class. They've gone on to become attorneys, sports journalists and editors, publishers. And we saw that a departure from that culture of grooming them, of competition. Talent without competition is zero. So we have all these young people, they can play good football, they can run, but there's no competition at the secondary school level. And that's what we want to achieve. We hope that by doing this country can begin to create an industry of talent that can go out there. Sports is business globally. We have these talents, we need to give them the opportunity to bloom. And that's the opportunity we're giving them today. Well, we have a structure. We have our federations, about 38 federations, sporting federations. The federations are set up primarily to help develop and nurture our talents. So once we pick them, we'll feed them into either NFF, into AFN, into the Badminton Federation, and then they get support from government, apart from private sector. We already have some of our federations. They've keyed into this already. We will give them the support they need on the part of government. I'm sure that we have sponsors that have contacted us. The private sector will support us, and I think we can do it.
And that was Sports Minister Sunday Dare. Guys, I know you listened to what he said. Austin talked about some guys that were there. Daniel Amokachi was there. You also had the NFF First Vice President Sheyi Akimi was there as well, and some other people. I want you to listen to what they had to say, and sum up all the things you want to say about the things that you have heard them speak about. So let's listen to former Super Eagles striker Daniel Amokachi and also the NFF Vice President talk about this, and we come back for more Sports Tonight.
First of all, I think we need to, commend those that put all this in place. The Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, including the Minister of Education, I think they found it fit to revive the Manuel Adebayo Cup, which is the principal cup right now, and you can see how excited the young players are for the organizers to fly, Kaduna, college all the way from Kaduna to come and play here. I think it's a bit, and quality-wise, definitely you can see there's a lot of quality on the football pitch, and that's what grassroots development is all about. You give them avenue to showcase what they have, and then you shine, their products.
Well, I'm not surprised because we have youth across the country who are extremely good at football. What we need to do is harmonize football and have a structure that works. I'm glad that this idea has come up, but as I told the organizer, we now need to sit down and structure it properly where it can work within the football system. The state FAs and the schools and the NFF, the organizers, we have to sit down properly and do it so that it's sustainable. Otherwise, as we have had seen projects before, it will start and it will die. Even if this minister is enthusiastic about it, do we know if the next one will be? So we have to build something that is bigger than the current status quo.
Yes, after now, every state is going to start playing their preliminaries, and in 2-3 weeks, they are going to be having the state finals. And each of those state finals will be zoned into the 6 geopolitical zones we have in Nigeria. And those zones, they are going to play until we have 2 finalists from each of the zones. That will make about 12 teams qualifying for the national finals. And it's going to be a festival like at the national finals, because we are going to run the finals on a 5-day basis, where it's going to be like a mini sport festival, where we are going to be doing the finals for athletics, the final for football, the final for table tennis and all that. So it's going to be like a mini festival, and I assure you that it's going to be something that we want to redefine what it means to develop the grassroots football.
That's it. Tony Permo, the consultant for the Principals Cup, speaking right there. Listen to the NFF First Vice President, and you also listen to Daniel Amokachi. Let me allow Alfred go first in a minute or two. Sum up, your takeaway from listening to all of them. Say something about the rebranded Principals Cup.
Okay, they are saying what everybody wants to hear. They need to get a young talent busy. And secondary school is really I remember growing up, I went to Methodist Boys High School, Lagos. About here, I finished my secondary school. And the crop of players we had in the let me just go back, 80s. These are players, at some point, my school team, just off the Principals Cup, who was the goalkeeper of the school team? Churchill Olise. And he was also the captain of the team, the same owner of present-day Ibiede. Of the competition, the Eagles were preparing for the Maroc 88, and they were looking for a team to play. That game was played at the practice pitch of the National Stadium. Super Eagles played a friendly game on their road to the, I think that was the Olympics 88 with the Methodist Boys High School team. That was how good we were back then. These are schoolboy heroes, people who on the streets, the entire school, and in fact, the entire district knows. That's how big the competition is. It's good that this competition is being revived, and I like the feel of doing it for not only football but for other sports. Things like the fastest schoolboy in the country, something that really, the best boxer, the best in this, the best in that. I think it's all good. The feel is good, and like I said, the Honorable Minister of Sports, Sunday Dare, is putting so much into this in terms of making it work. We've seen policies come. We've seen events come. Let's the question will be, when the next sports minister comes, will he continue program with this kind of gusto? That's another question. But let's see this one get off the ground. I think this is something that needs to be commended.
All right. Austin, your take? Quickly.
I listened to Sunday Dari, and he's super excited that we've got it going. He mentioned names that have come out of the Principal Cup, which is a testament that it is a winning brand. Daniel Amokachi reminded us that we still have quality at that level, because he said there was good quality on the pitch watching those boys play. But Sheyi Akiwumi said what was important for continuity. Sheyi Akiwumi said, now is the time to sit down with the organizers, in case they didn't do just that. Sit down and structure properly. It's a structure properly. Sit down with the state FAs. Remember what I said about having a working policy? Because now the boys from Kaduna, they've played football, they will go back to their state. If there is no policy, if there is no continuation, they are just going to wait, play state preliminaries. As Tony Pemu, the organizer, mentioned that they're going to have state preliminaries. After that, you do finals, you go. That document, we say now, how can we put this into education?
Okay.
How can the athletes realize that well in school? That's what we need to be doing. Sit down and rethink of how to make this Principal's Cup not just a competition, but a policy program that will yield results.
All right, I get you, Austin. I'm with you on that, and hopefully we'll get the things we're praying for the development of sports generally. Guys, I want to take you back to the conversation we had. I just had with the basketball coach of the Kenyan national team. I'm going to read 2 tweets. I'm going to give both of you a minute each to talk about it, because we need to go on a break. But it's very important for the sake of those who sent in those tweets. Summer, that insurance guy, says, Coach Lees has really touched a very important aspect of our weakness, lack of grassroots development. This is not only in basketball, but in all our sports. That's Shegun, that insurance guy. This one is from Shola Jide Samuel. Says, Nigeria not a great basketball nation. It's a great team which plays NBA-like games. Attributing that statement to Liz Mills. I don't think she was that blunt anyway. But so you listen to those tweets that I read. I just want a response from you guys. Do you agree that we play tournaments, and Liz was right by saying we're not developing our game? Let me allow Austin go first.
And I said it before now. I said that we should realize that grassroots shouldn't be just about competitions. I'm sure that's what she saw, maybe before she agreed to work with the Kenya Basketball Federation. She saw programs that will lead to development. Yes, that's been the case. We just think that if we go for competitions and we do so well, we'll be respected. So I totally agree with that. And that's a wake up, that's a charge to African sports administrators, that we must start doing those things that will project development.
All right, thank you, Austin. Alfred, your take. Initially, it sounded like a diss to me, but I realized I'm a Nigerian, but she's saying the truth.
Well, I might tend to disagree a bit. We've seen basketball as part of our national life. Yes, it's true that the guys are doing so much in terms of the guys that play in the Afro basketball and how well they've represented us well, Olympic qualifiers and the rest of them. But you also realize that, yes, the structures might not be there. That means the game. That does not mean that the game is dead. Yeah, we have the sports council, like National Sports Festival. We're going to play the game of basketball. Yes, we might have issues with.
I have Austin Okonakman with me, and Alfred Okoligwe will join us back. Austin, let's quickly talk about the Nigerian Professional Football League. I want to talk about the NPFL and also the Europa League. The draws have been made. We're going to do those 2 things and wrap up the show with a few minutes that we have left. It's going to come up on your screen now, the fixtures for the Nigerian Professional Football League. Then Austin will tell us what he thinks is going to happen in some of this. I'll run through them. Aqua United will take on Rivers United. Jigawa Golden Stars will take on Eyimba International. FC Ifeanyi will take on Plateau United. MFM will take on Nasarawa United. These are some of the fixtures on match day 13. There are some other fixtures to look at. Lobi Stars taking on Casino United. Sunshine Stars up against Adamawa United. Dakada FC will square off against Kano Pillars. Rangers International will try on Heartland for size. Remaining 2 matches, Sevilla Warriors will take on Wiki Tourist. Kwara United will take on Warri Wolves. I'll go straight to Austin in a minute if you can. I know it's not easy, but in a minute if you can, which games should we be looking at if we want to see good football? I know it's all, but you probably have a preference for some.
No, but if I talk Aqua now, you say for obvious reasons. So I'm going to start. I'm going to start with Rangers Heartland. Your Ranger Derby always gets us talking. And Heartland, what a form they're enjoying. I just love what Fidelity Lechuku does with any team that he handles. It's just this thing about courage, about building confidence in your team. We saw how this Heartland team struggled, and now they found their rhythm and they're getting the results, when you expect them to. So that would definitely get us talking because Rangers, it's a tough ride. They do well this time and then they don't do well the next time. And I think Heartland can, go to Enugu with so much confidence and try to get a point out of that one. Aqua United Rivers is a big match. Aqua on a good run now. Their confidence seems to be boiling. Rivers United will be pretty disappointed with their last away fixture. They've not, since they defeated Abia Warriors away from home, I don't think they've gotten an away victory. So they need to do more in terms of traveling. I was disappointed for them in Ozoro. Their last match losing 1-0. So they might be thinking they can do 1 or 2 to Aqua United in Uyo. Aqua, with that Aimba's last minute pick a point on the road. They cannot wait to see where they can take their next match to. And then, of course, Dakada, they don't like the way they lost it against Heartland. They have an opportunity to correct that against Kano Pillars. That's a big, big test. But Dakada has shown that they can be decent. In fact, when they got the red card, when their captain, Anye Kanekpe, was sent off, they were still charging forward. They were still attacking until they got, that heartbreak in the final minutes of the match. So it's going to really get us talking. MFM Nasarawa United is a good tie. I'd like to see what Abia Warriors will also do against Wiki. Abia Warriors now also, trying to get into the league campaign. So, it's going to be a good show of club league football in Nigeria. And those who actually won the wins will be coming out to see if they can get it.
All right. So thank you, Austin. Let's quickly go to Alfred. Also, a quick wrap up for us. What to expect, Nigeria Professional Football League, also in a minute.
All right, one game comes to mind. Coach Olalekan Gabriel, the coach of MFM, handed the job on an interim basis by the MFM board. Went away and got a point against Katsina United. I think that was good. MFM, I saw their last home game, 1-2-0 against Adamawa United. And so I want to see how they play against Nasarawa United. Nasarawa had a bit of a slump but I think they've recovered and they're playing very well. Nasarawa is an exciting team to watch. I've seen them this season. I saw them beat Heartland in Owerri early part of the season. I think that was their first game in Owerri, match day 2. And since then, yes, a bit of stumble here and there, back home.
All right. Okay. So
I think they've stabilized. My line Q is
all right.
He's really cooking something.
Okay. So that's it. Alfred has given us his thoughts on what to expect in the Nigeria Professional Football League. All right. We've come to that point where I will have to sign you guys off. We're about to wrap things up on the show. Let me quickly thank Austin Okonakwan for his time on the show tonight. Time not always our friend, but thank you for being here to have this conversation with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Yemi. Always a delight to be on the show.
All right. Alfred Okuligwe, I want to thank you as well. Always good having you with us.
Thank you very much, Yemi. My pleasure always.
All right. Okay, so that's it. Thank you, guys. Let's see if we can really take out the English Premier League, the fixtures. We'll reel it out, and, of course, we'll wrap things up on the show. English Premier League, games to expect over the weekend. Let's see if we can do that quickly as we wrap things up. Crystal Palace will take on Fulham. Leicester City take on Arsenal. Tottenham against Burnley. Chelsea will take on Manchester United. Pick of the pack for a lot of people. That's on Sunday. Sheffield will take on Liverpool. A lot of interesting matches in the English Premier League world. So you look at, okay, we flipped it. Saturday, Manchester City will take on West Ham. West Brom take on Brighton. Leeds United take on Aston Villa. Newcastle United will take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. That's it in the English Premier League. A lot of interesting games. Of course, we talk about the Europa League. We don't have time to talk about it. And of course, that's it on your screen. Last season draw done today, and those are the fixtures. Interesting matches that will be played. You can see all of the teams in there. We're also talking about Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, of course, updates on him. He's been moved to a place where he can receive care, and we'll see. It might take time, but we'll see. Hopefully, Tiger gets back on his feet, and well, hopefully in a time not too long from now, hopefully we'll see him back on the field playing golf, making us happy. That's the show tonight. Thanks for joining us. It's the last one for the week. Enjoy the rest of your day, by extension, the weekend. We're back here again on Tuesday. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.